Hi, I'm Steve, this is BlandManStudios, and today marks the end of a 16-month-long experiment where I used a flip phone as my primary communication device. But that's a topic for another time, and a great reason for you to subscribe. Today we're going to get to the real purpose of this video, which is that I'm going to set up this used Pixel 6a to run de-Googled Android, and you're either going to watch me struggle or see just how easy it is. Let's get started. Okay, so we are recording now. I've got this phone. I'm going to start it up for the first time, and I've got some GrapheneOS instructions here. Let's just go ahead. Okay, so Graphene has two officially supported installation methods. I consider myself a more technical user, so we're going to run that with the command line method. We strongly recommend you use the official installation methods. Third-party installation guides are often out of date. Okay, yeah, we're going to get started with the CLI install method. It is installing GrapheneOS on officially supported devices. So I'm going to do have Pixel 6a here. And my phone has started up. Prerequisites, let's double check we have all these. You need a computer, you need a USB for attaching to the computer. Found myself a Type-C USB cable. Officially supported. Looks like Fedora is not on this list, but I think I'm confident enough in being able to install the right packages and do the right things. Operating system's up to date. I'm a good Linux user, and my stuff is always up to date. Enabling OEM unlocking. OEM unlocking needs to be enabled, so I'm going to have to go ahead and unlock the OS. We need to be updated to the June 22 release. Okay, so I will actually need to go ahead and actually set up this, make sure it's on the latest OS, and do the USB unlocking stuff. Looks like you're seeing what I'm seeing. Welcome to Pixel. Don't need Wi-Fi. Set up offline. Don't need a SIM card. Next. Don't need location services. Don't need to send them usage data. I accept. I accept. Skip a pin. Skip a pin. I do not want swipe to navigate. I'd rather have buttons. Change that to the 3-button setup. Cool, we got a home button now. Home screen, okay, cool. So we are at home screen already, and now I just need to go ahead and unlock. So let's go ahead, go to settings and about phone, press the build number several times, and I'm now in developer mode. Then go to system developer settings, system developer options, and toggle OEM unlock setting. Allow OEM unlocking. Device protection features will not work while this setting's turned on. Enable. Cool. Oh, and then we want to also check that we have the June 2022 release. Android version is from June 5th of 2024. Cool. So now I've unlocked. So back to our instructions. We're in Linux, so we don't need this Windows PowerShell garbage. Obtaining fastboot. You already need a version of the fastboot tool. You can run fastboot, determine your current version, fastboot -- version. Okay, I already have version 34. Oh, it must be at least version 34.1. It must be at least 34. Oh, okay. Sudo DNF, let's see. DNF search fastboot to see if I installed it from DNF or elsewhere. It was Android tools. Go DNF update Android -tools. Android tools. Let's make sure we spell things better. I'm in the latest version. Use the following instructions for platforms without a proper package. looks like they want me to install my own fast boot and then add it to my own path. So I'm gonna have to install some new software. Yeah, I don't want to break my phone or do anything wrong, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. If your operating system does not include, okay, so let's go ahead and make a directory for stuff we're gonna install. I've already probably been doing Android dev stuff somewhere on my computer. So I might already have a directory where I could save this stuff. All right, I've got a folder for projects, so I'm just going to use that. So let's cd into mount data 0 Samba shared data projects. Make a directory for clear maker GrapheneOS Android stuff. CD GrapheneOS Android stuff. Okay, cool. So let's see. They want me to make sure I have libarchive tools installed. DNF search for archive tools. Archive grep tools. Maybe if I search for something with both tools and archive in it. DNF search lib archive. For handling streaming archive formats, development files for libarchive. What is libarchive tools? These are probably tools that go with libarchive. So if I get libarchive, that might be good enough. DNF search. Libarchive tools. Yeah, libarchive tools is libarchive. So I'm just going to install libarchive, and I'm thinking that's good enough. Install libarchive. Sudo DNF install libarchive. Cool, I already had it. Nice. So now I need to copy. It's going to have me curl this platform tools zip from Google. There, I've downloaded it. It wants to echo that into, So it echoes some hash and the platform tool zip into SHA sum. SHA sum. SHA 256 sum. -c checks it. Okay. To verify and extract. Okay, so this is the checksum that they think is their valid package. So shasum will check if the sum of this package equals this number, and that will mean I indeed installed the correct thing from them and not some middleman party. And it says, okay, the tool is correct. So I could also do like echo platform tools.zip into say 256 sum of platform tools.zip, and you can see it returns this ACFF string, which is the ACFF string. Okay, cool. So I downloaded the right thing. BSD tar. I don't know why that's the recommended tar tool. I always do think unzip with tar. So tar extract gzipped verbose force platform tools. Oh, it's a zip. That's why. I'm just going to say unzip platform tools. All right, got our platform tools folder. Then it wants us to, that's the instructions for Mac, to verify it with Windows. Then you just add it to your path. So this will hack the current directory into the beginning of our path. So that way it uses this, the version of platform tools installed. So it is platform tools ls platform tools. So there it does have binaries right there, like this fastboot binary. So if I do platform tools fastboot -- version, we'll see that this version is 35.0, which is the one they've recommended. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my path, like they're saying here, and that will give this one the priority. So if I were just run fastboot -- version, I'm getting this one that's now first in my path, rather than the one that's installed originally. So that's just temporarily added to my path. So if I have a different terminal, I can run fastboot -- version, and I can even say like which fastboot, and it'll tell me I'm running the one in user bin fastboot, whereas this one is using which fastboot, the one in the install directory. So here in this other terminal, I can also show you my path, echo path, and you can see it's just got a few directories. This one has echo path. It has this new directory we've installed and all the rest of the normal stuff. So let's go ahead and clear that out, and we're ready to move on now that we have a good new version of fastboot. That was not too hard. Okay, so we've checked our fastboot version. Flashing is non-root. Okay. The traditional USB distributions, USB devices cannot be used as non-root devices without UDEV rules for each device. On Linux, you need to set up UDEV. On Ubuntu and Debian, you need platform SDK tools for Android. The UDEV rules are very out of date, but the package is needed for Linux. I'm going to check if I have some similar package. DNF search Android SDK. Android file transfer, Android tools. Yeah, so I have that Android tools package. I'm sure it's the same thing. DNF info, Android tools. Does it say anything about UDEV? Doesn't say anything about UDEV, but we're just gonna risk it. Working around the FWUPD bug on Linux distributions is no longer required for Pixel 4a and later. Okay, we're using 6a, so we're good. Skip it. Booting into the bootloader interface. You need to boot your device into the bootloader interface. To do this, you need to hold down. Okay, cool. Okay, we've got our device. We have done the OEM unlocking thing. You need to... We're going to reboot once to make sure that OEM unlocking stuff works. Talk to Google with your power button. No, Google, I do not want your voice control crap. Let's just go ahead and let the power button be a power menu. Great choice. This is exactly the kind of stuff. It's the reason why I want a degoogled Android. I want to opt into that kind of crap instead of opting out of it. So let's go ahead and just let it restart and see how we do it. And then I'll go ahead and get my USB cable set up. They said plug it into the back of your computer, so I'm going to go ahead and do that underneath my desk here. Okay, it restarted fairly quickly, and then as you can see, my OS for a second there was like, hey, we got a new device. Yeah, there you can see. Hey, we got a Pixel 6a. So I know that I did correctly use the USB cable that allows data to pass through, so that's good stuff. And then they're telling me I need to boot to the bootloader interface. The easiest approach is to do the volume down thing. So let's go ahead and turn it off. Turn it off and then boot it up while holding the volume down button during the boot process. You can either boot it with the power button or by plugging it in as required in the next section. Okay, volume down, and then boot it up. The easiest approach is reboot the device and begin holding the volume down button until it boots up. So maybe I need to hold a little longer to get it to turn on. Cool. Now it looks to be in fast boot mode, which is probably also the bootloader interface. Okay, connecting your device. How well can you see that? Can you see the text and stuff? What if I have some nice black background? Is that going to help? It's just always going to be hard to record a screen this shiny. Maybe I need to turn off my little lighting here. Anyway, I can probably get some screenshots later to show this stuff if it's not clear enough. Cool. Okay, connecting the device. On Linux, you may need to do it again. What are you talking about here? Okay, connect the device. On Linux, you need to do this again. If you did not have the rule, you'd have rules set. I probably had those. Current Windows 11 driver, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I just connected it. I think that's fine. Okay, with fast boot on my computer, let's go ahead and do fast boot flashing unlock. Fast boot. Clear. Fast boot. -- version. I've got the right version still, 35.0. Fast boot. Flashing. Unlock. Waiting for device. And needs to be confirmed. Let's do fast boot devices. No permission. Aha! Maybe I need sudo to be able to do that. Okay. With sudo, it does have root perms to be able to find my device. Aha! Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Flashing as non-root. You need the UDEVs. You need the UDEV rules in place if you're going to do this as a non-root user, but I can just run fastboot as root because this is my computer and I have permission to do whatever I want with it. Cool, fastboot flashing unlock. Sudo fastboot flashing unlock. This command needs to be confirmed on the device and will wipe all data. Use the volume up and down buttons. Okay, so now it's warning me. If you unlock the bootloader, you will be able to install a custom operating system software on this phone. A custom OS is not subject to the same level of testing as the original OS. That's a bold claim, and can cause your phone to install your phone and installed applications to stop working properly. That's totally true. Software integrity cannot be guaranteed with a custom OS, so any data stored on the device with a custom bootloader may be at risk. And so is data on a OEM phone. To prevent unauthorized access to your personal data other than the authorization that you typically provide to Google without your knowledge. Unlocking your bootloader will also delete all your personal data on your device. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let this phone wipe itself. It was a used phone that I just acquired, so I had no data on it. You saw I just started it up for the first time, only for the purpose of being able to unlock the bootloader. So I can use the volume buttons. It says do not unlock and unlock. So I use the volume button to switch to unlock mode. Do I have something I can take photos with? Cool. All right. Took a photo of what that said. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and unlock my bootloader. Screen just went black, and now it's back in fast boot mode, and it says device state is unlocked. Cool. Next, the instructions are telling me to obtain SSH. So I have a Linux distro, so I already had OpenSSH. So it's like DNF info open SSH. SSH. Cool. That is some info on it. I can say which SSH, and I totally have a version installed. So I do not need the OpenSSH client for Ubuntu or Arch because I have it here in my Fedora install. Now I need to obtain factory images. You can either download these with curl or from a web UI. So I'm going to go ahead and open up, well, those are the public keys. Okay. Other locations to obtain the signing key. There's a releases page for factory images. Okay, no, this is Graphene. Cool. So for the Pixel 6a, 0822, 0822, and 0822. Okay, I've already installed these, so I'm just going to I've already installed these, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy them from where I have them. So it was like move from downloads BlueJ star to dot ls, and now I have BlueJ install.zip, BlueJ install signature, BlueJ install.zip, and then I'm going to just go ahead and re-download this signature. And let's make it mv / downloads BlueJ install signature as BlueJ install .signature .download 2. And I'll say diff BlueJ install .sig with BlueJ install .sig download 2. These files are exactly the same, so I can go ahead and remove the download 2 version. Cool. So I've got the required files here. Okay. Obtain the factory images. You need to obtain the factory images. You can download them using your browser or with curl from the other locations to obtain the signing key. The current public key is signed with the previous signing key. Okay, and then I can also download the allowed signers file, which it looks like I already have. So I'm going to say move downloads allowed signers. And so I can run their signify commands to make sure that the signature I've downloaded comes from their allowed signers. I really don't understand this key signature process in order to do it properly. And it sounds like I'm downloading things, so if my downloads were getting intercepted, they could just also intercept the allowed signers download. So instead of figuring out how to verify this stuff, I'm just going to skip that for now and hope that these are good factory images. Okay, cool. Next step is flashing the factory images onto the phone. The initial install will be performed by flashing the factory images. You will replace the existing OS installation and wipe the existing data. We already wiped the data. So to extract the factory images, it wants us to unzip the zip file. So I'm just going to go ahead and do unzip clear ls. Let's do unzip BlueJ. What do we want? It wants, there's the install file, which is what it wants us to install. Unzip. So I'm going to unzip the BlueJ install file. Then it wants us to move into that directory. So to change our working directory to be that working directory. Once that's done, then we have a flash all script that will run, which should flash our OS. And then it wants you to wait for it to be completed. Then after that happens, it looks like we're just kind of done. The rest could just be optional. So it's like once you flash your OS, because it has troubleshooting steps, so obviously this could get broken, but then it wants you to lock your bootloader, and then there's some post-install steps, like turning it on for the first time and verifying the install. So that'll be really exciting once this flashes. Then I will have Graphene on this phone and I can start using it and see if I like it. So obviously it comes down to if we can actually flash it, but so far this has been fairly easy and straightforward. So let's go ahead and do cd into BlueJ install directory like it asked. It's telling us to run this flash all sh script, but we probably shouldn't run something without reading it first. So let's just open it with gedit and run an open flashall.sh, kind of get familiar with what it's doing. Do not edit this file. Wasn't planning on it, just wanted to read it. That is some nice ASCII art though. Fastboot not found. Okay. If it can't find fastboot, it'll warn me. If the fastboot version is less than 3501, it'll warn me. Glad I did that step earlier. If the available device, it's going to run fastboot get invar product. So I'm going to run that too. Probably I can tell what that does. Oh, yeah, let's see. Probably gonna get the name. Okay, so I got the name of the phone. It's BlueJ, it's a Pixel 6a, so I'm glad I got the right images. I'm glad it verifies. Slot count is probably depending on how many devices you have. It's gonna grab the image from the image directory, so it looks like, yeah, here's the image file. It's not in its own directory, it's just a file. Then it's gonna run a bunch of fastboot commands. It's gonna flash the radio with the radio image. It's going to reboot the bootloader. It's going to erase some keys. It's going to flash some new keys. It's just going to flash all the files onto the phone and then hopefully be good. So I don't have fastboot working as non-root, so I think all these commands will fail. So I'm going to have to run this script as root. So it's another good reason why I am verifying that this script isn't doing something crazy. If this script was, for example, hacking into my OS and installing something, then I would just have that malware forever. But assuming they didn't give me a bad version of fastboot, which I made sure I was getting the right one, but if Graphene was giving me a bad one, then all these fastboot commands could be doing a bunch of malware stuff. But it is cool that they're recommending people not run this stuff as root. But I'm lazy and don't want to set up those UDEV rules. And I'm going to see. I got that fastboot version from, yeah, here's where it was. From google.com. So I'm doing all this to get rid of Google software, but at some point I do have to trust Google and say they're probably not giving me a hacked fastboot. Or at least if they are, it's running their malware and not Graphene's malware. Cool, so I think I'm confident enough to run the flash all command. So we'll try it without root and then it'll probably fail. So I'm gonna run. Let me just put the camera back on the phone while it runs. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, I got it to focus for the first time. Nice. Cool, so this is where we are. I'm gonna go ahead and run /flash all dot. Are they recommending I // with it? It's probably not a runnable script, so it's like if I do /flash all, so actually I can prove that ls-al /all.sh. can see here it's not executable. There would be an X if it was. So I'm going to have to change the perms on that. Oh, that's why it says bash. It wants bash to read the file in. But whatever, I prefer vim flash all. Yeah, it has the right thing at the top to be runnable, so. But yeah, let's do bash flash all.sh, no available devices. So it's gotten stuck already. I'm gonna go ahead and Control C to quit out of that, and I knew I was gonna have to run this as root anyway, so let's see if it works. Oh. Because I'm in sudo, it's using my old, it's running as root, and therefore it's not using 35.0, therefore it's rejecting it. Not sure how to solve this. I think I just Google how do you use a custom path with sudo. Yeah. How do you use custom path with sudo? You could directly reference the command, but I'm not going to do that because it's in the script. I'd have to edit it and replace the script. Or I could edit my sudoers file to, was this Google? DuckDuckGo. Sudo custom path. Oh, you can just set an environment variable. This is a feature of sudo to work around the problem. Okay, cool. So it's like sudo bash sudo env path equals path bash flash all.sh. And then we're going to run the script as sudo using the flash, using the right path to get the right version of fast boot. And it looks like it's already running all those things. Did all the things that we were predicting. Flashing a bunch of files. Oh, now it's sending the radio image. So I can scroll up and see what it did first. So it found the right minimum version. Let's see. Yeah, here it was. Found the device. And then it just started flashing things and validating what they got. And now it's flashing all of those super files. Wait for the flashing process to complete. Will automatically handle flashing the firmware, rebooting the bootloader interface. Avoid interacting with the device until the flashing script is finished. Then proceed to locking the bootloader before using the device, as locking the device wipes it again. Okay, so if I wanted to lock the bootloader, which I probably will, I should do that first because when you lock it, it wipes the device. So I'll lock it first so that it wipes all personal data, which there will be none, and then I can start using it. Okay, it sounds like there's an issue where sometimes temporary directories fill up, so we could see if that happens. I'm gonna let this run for a couple minutes and then come back. Oh no, it finished, cool. And it looks like finished every step. Don't see any area codes. Warned me that it skipped some steps, but no fatal errors. Okay, so locking the bootloader is important because it enables the full verified boot. Will also prevent from using fast boot to flash, format or erase partitions. That's probably a good thing if I end up plugging my device into some nefarious USB port somewhere. They can't just like put it into fast boot mode and install their own OS or their own malware. OS partitions will prevent reading corrupted data. if changes are detected. Cool, so let's go ahead and lock our bootloader again. Sudo fast boot flashing lock. Okay, it's saying similar to something before, do not lock it, or I could change it to lock it. If you lock the bootloader, you will not be able to install a custom operating system. To prevent unauthorized access to your personal data, locking the bootloader will also delete all your personal data. Cool. So there is no personal data, so I'm cool with locking the bootloader. Now for the post-installation steps. We can see we've gone back to green for device state is locked. Okay, so the next steps are booting. Now that you've successfully installed Graphene, you can boot it. Pressing the power button, you can disable OEM unlocking, and you can verify the install. You should be good. Hardware-based attestation. Auditor app for a combination of verified boot attestation features. Purpose of auditor is getting information about the device. I'll read about that later, figure out if it's necessary. And then I'll also probably have to install any apps I want, and then if I need to install Play Store, which I probably will, I'll figure out how they do their Google Play sandboxing so that I can only have the Google software that I want running. So now that you've successfully installed Graphene, you can boot it, press the power button with the default start option selected to boot the OS. So the options are restart bootloader, recovery mode, rescue mode, barcode, power off, or start. I'm going to go ahead and start the phone. This is my first boot into GrapheneOS. Your device is loaded using a different operating system. I could press this power button to pause, or I could let it start. Starts with the Google logo and a GrapheneOS logo. If I get out of the frame, will it actually focus? Welcome to GrapheneOS. English and accessibility options. I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. Connect to Wi-Fi. Let's set up without Wi-Fi for now. Greenwich Mean Time is fine, which makes it 8 p.m. right now. Location services. Allow apps that have asked permission to use your location information. This may include your current and past location. Let's go ahead and disable that. I'm going to set a pin, which is always a good idea to do. What should I set the pin to be? Okay, I set up the password generator, set up your fingerprint unlock, or set up password, just generated it. something with a random password generator. I will write it down for myself later. Do I want to enable fingerprint unlocking? Creates a unique model of your fingerprint. I kind of do. I actually like this as a feature. It took me a long time. But for now, I will start with the no thanks option, restore data and apps. If you already have a backup of your previous GrapheneOS, you can restore apps. I'm not going to do that. This is a fresh install. Swipe to navigate. I do not want that. I'm going to skip that, and hopefully we'll get some power buttons. Now you're all set. You're ready to start using your device. Disable unlocking, OEM unlocking. It's recommended to disable OEM unlocking to improve device security. I'm going to leave that enabled so that way I can install new OSs if I want, and then I can always probably lock it in that UI later. So let's go ahead and hit start. So it just starts with a black background. That's kind of cool. It's got a couple apps in here. If I get out of the frame, you should see better what it looks like. Should I hold the camera? Let's turn off the ring light again. Cool. So it's black background and a couple default apps, including Chrome and whatnot. Phone app. Actually, it's probably Chromium. Vanadium Notification Center to make things easier. You'll be able to easily manage media controls, incognito sessions, and downloads. Maybe. Let's come back to it. No thanks. Not connected to the internet, but that's probably fine. Oh, and it did do the unlocking thing. Let's go into settings. Let's see which settings are on. Let's do the nav bar. Navigation mode should not be gesture navigation. I like the 3 buttons. The App Store should have stuff. Couldn't connect to the App Store because I'm not on the internet. Let's go ahead and check the OEM unlocking thing. Settings. Oh, cool. It's back on gesture settings. Let's do search for OEM. It's probably back under developer settings like we had before. So I'm going to go to About Phone, tap the build number. Cool, so I've got developer mode now. So we can go developer mode. That's under system. Developer options. OEM unlocking is enabled because I didn't disable it earlier. Let's go ahead and disable it. Please restart your device to the enable that device protection feature. Cool. So I'm going to hold for the reboot, and it brings up a power screen, which is such a reasonable default, not extra Google crap. We're going to restart. It's interesting that it adds this press power button to pause thing while it reboots, but reboots, goes to Google. It is a Google Pixel, so I get that. Comes back up to Graphene, and then I'm sure it'll boot normally. Cool. Oh, it's telling me what time it is. I can go ahead and unlock it. I can go ahead and unlock it with my new passcode. And we're back into Graphene. Cool. So now I have System settings, developer options, bootloader unlocking is disabled. So now I've got a new GrapheneOS smartphone that I can use. It seems reasonably fast. It was reasonable to install. Its bootloader is locked, so it should just be using this GrapheneOS. And now I can install apps, figure out if I like it, and then potentially start using it as my primary smartphone. This is very exciting. That was very easy. Cool, so that was me installing GrapheneOS on this used Pixel 6a that I bought for reasonably inexpensive. And now I've got a de-Googled Android phone, and it took me less than an hour to install. The only way I cheated was that I downloaded some of those files ahead of time and kind of was like already familiar with the idea of fast boot and the kind of files that would need to be flashed. And I had already downloaded them, so yeah, all in all, I went from having a recently purchased, used, wiped clean Android device to GrapheneOS in under an hour. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to get started customizing it and see if it works to my liking, and if it does, then I'll put my SIM card in it and it'll be my new primary smartphone, or primary phone. Cool. I might record some of that, I might not. We'll see, and maybe that will be the rest of this video. But if not, cool.